Guys, we've got a few problems at Hoover Dam. We already knew there was some, but we've got an additional one now. We're going to take a look at it. You're looking at what's called the cableway, and that spans the entire Colorado River over the Hoover Dam area. They've used it for 90 years to lower heavy equipment down into the dam, to not only build it, but to repair it. And in this case, what you're seeing is a 9-ton door that they're lowering in place. It fits into a slot down where they have a broken low-head turbine. Remember, there were 5. One is down for repair. We've talked about it quite often. Well, this door that they're lowering down, and they got it in place, what it happens, it gets in there, then they pump all the water out of that chamber where that 5th turbine is. As the water is pumped out, pressure from the outside water pushes in on this door, and with the rubber seal, it seals all the water out. Once it's drained, the techs can get in there. They can lower equipment. It's the only way to get it in, by the way, and start their repairs, do their cleanup and things. Again, it's a cavern full of water normally with a turbine setting in it. So now they've got it in place. But what happened with the 90-year-old cableway system, it broke once they got the door down in there. They came back out and they noticed that the crane track at the top had shifted. And so they have closed the top of the dam. You can't go across that road. You can't go to the visitor parking lot, and the workers cannot come into that service road now because all of this is hanging above it. It started happening a couple of days ago, but this morning they've got the engineers in there to do the inspections. Now, they'll have to make plans of every movement with something this big and delicate. In other words, lay out the plan on what they have to do first, stage 2, stage 3, all of that, make the report, get it approved before anything can happen. Now, the one good thing about it is the parts for this low-head turbine are not supposed, let me put it this way, the low-head turbine is not supposed to be back in service until 2028 or 2029. And the problem there was it only left 4 low-head turbines out of the 17 that will be operational in just a few more. Now, here's a picture from kind of a ground level picture of the door being lowered down into that slot where they can, again, set it in there and seal off that 5th turbine chamber. Again, they got it down, they got it in place. From all the information I can find, it has sealed. They are pumping water out of it. It looks like all that's okay. But again, they're going to have to repair it. The tour center, the access road, the bridge going across that used to be the only highway, all of that's closed. So you've got the higher bridge now that you see in this picture. What is that, part of Interstate 11 or something like that? Guys, let me know. But that is the only way across now. And a lot of people are acting upset, I noticed in the news reports, because they were bringing their kids to look at the dam and all of that. But guys, they don't realize that the river below them is drying up very quickly. And there's much more important things than what they're crying about right now. And looking at the picture, guys, it kind of gives you a concept of how large the whole thing is. But there are pictures that go back that are black and white of this rail system, this cable system, lowering entire railroad boxcars down from the top of the canyon down during construction. So it's very powerful, but if you think about it, being 90 years old, it's going to have worn parts, and I'm sure they've done routine maintenance and things like that. And they were actually, after they lifted it down there, they were a little concerned, and they did a maintenance run, and that's when everything started shifting out of place, and they started evacuating people. And here's a picture, guys, as they were getting ready to take this panel or this door down to that very area. Again, look at the size of... Again, this is 18,000 pounds or 9 tons, but this cableway, guys, is extremely large. And to think about the construction and the design being 90 years old, people were pretty sharp back in that day. It's just a shame that maybe with all the housing money, the data center money, and all of that stuff that's been spent, they could have improved on the necessary lifeline to keep this dam and its maintenance up. But, sometimes the fast-paced way is the way they do it. And one more image here, guys. Again, this is from, I think, the right side, but it's one of the main towers, and you can see the cableway here. Not sure exactly what happened. They're not releasing the details. It's a national security site. They're not going to do the blueprints or anything like that in any detailed package because it can be hacked. Outside users could use that information to possibly do damage to the dam. They're just not going to release a lot of information because it is a national security site. And let's take a look at the current level of Meade now. It's been floating this morning since 1 o'clock this morning Mountain Time from about 10:41:13. Lowest was at 10, and you've got some changes in the release rate of cubic feet per second. But we're currently at the 6 to 7 a.m. hour, 10:41:14. That puts us just a few inches, 5 or 6, 7 inches above the 10:41.58 that is the technical low record. So we're just inches away, and possibly a day or so before the Fed starts stepping in and reallocating the water. But we're not told everything that happens at the dams because they are national security sites. That's classified information. You don't need your hydropower and water systems hacked. But it seems to be they are now paying a little more attention to what's happening. But as they do that, they're running into problems that possibly have been not mothballed, but put on the shelf for quite a while as they looked at other factors, and the money was going in different directions, paying farmers not to plow and things like that. You understand what I'm saying? Now, take a look at this, guys. This is Temple Bar Marina this morning at 5:02 a.m. That's Mountain Time, as sunrise. And the water temperature was 84, but the air was 92.5. That's telling you that overnight it did not cool down enough for humans outside or for transformers. And I saw a video from the fellas at Sin City Outdoors in Vegas. They come down, they boat out, fish, and do all that. But they came in a couple of days ago and did a camp out so they could kind of drive around and inspect the sites and the new exposed. Guys, this is a still shot from this morning at 5:20 a.m. Mountain Time. This is Temple Bar Marina. And it's sunrise there, but notice the air temperature is 92.5 at sunrise. That's telling you there was no nighttime cooling. And so what it does is, as the sun rises, everything heats up much quicker. And I saw the crew from Sin City Outdoors that go down to Meade, and they fish, and they show us the boat reports as far as the ones that are now exposed from the sinking water and the different landmarks that are exposed. But they camped. They found them a little sandbar cliff thing there. They got up there, set up the tents, not tents, but cots with the mosquito net over each cot. So they had air, but it never got cool enough at night. They said it stayed close to 100 degrees, and I wouldn't doubt it seeing 92 this morning at sunrise. But the cramp set in on them. That's telling you no nighttime cooling, not for humans, not for electrical transformers in this area. And so it rapidly allows, as the sun rises, allows the temperature to increase. And you got 9-mile winds at daylight, but yesterday these were cruising at around 20 as the sun rose up. We started to see the movement of the water more, but the evaporation rate really spikes at that point. Now, I am seeing some reports of increased concern there at Meade because they may be seeing some cavitation. That's going to force the feds to stop in quicker. But this 14-day Lake Meade water database has a story in itself. And this goes back, again, 14 days. This was yesterday and the 4 days before it right here. Notice they have now balanced out the input and output, 9,000 in, 9,000 out for the last 4 days. But going back to 10 days before that, it was about a 3,000 or 4,000 cubic feet per second difference in what was going out compared to what was coming in. It was more going out. So now they're starting to see the cavitation pressure at Meade. They're having to lower the output somewhat because of that. And what that does is stretch out the numbers. Here we've got 1041, and 1041 has lasted, guys, look at this, about 9 or 10 days because they've been so careful on what they're doing here. But now it's getting to that situation. We're about 7 inches or so away from the Fed stepping in at 10.4058 at that low mark. Then at 10.38, it's just going to be a few more weeks, and 10.35 is right behind it. 10.35 may not get here under the same circumstances we're seeing now, because at 10.38, in a couple of weeks, we may see such a water drop, guys, because if they don't get more rain, which they're predicted to get a little bit, if they don't get any more rain, then all of the balancing they have done so far will start to change quickly. They will lose more water. The heat is increasing. You got the high pressure dome. It's hot all over the U.S. right now. But again, to sum it up, they're putting a lot of money into a situation that reminds me of a boat. Once you get it, you're throwing money in the water. You ever heard that saying? Oh, like flushing it down the commode. And that is kind of the scenario we're seeing now. They are caught in a situation. You got 52 million allocated to fix that low head turbine situation. And you've got a crane now, or the rail cableway, that's out of commission. And they don't know if it will work. The reason I say that is because the water will be too low by the time they get any of that done to even matter. They are trying to rescue a crumbling empire in the desert. But I'm not going to drag this out any further. It's just a quick update, guys. Again, we're about 7 inches from all-time record low, and now they broke the big erector set crane there they have. But again, they were trying to do the right thing, but the money that's been spent for the last 90 years, of all the things they should have kept in place, would be the ability to lift tons of weight, whether it's equipment, doors, or whatever, in and out of that damn location. So, again, poor planning, greed, it all leads to that fact. But now they've got the inspectors on the ground. They're going to write their reports, probably drag out for a month, who knows. But they're going to have to, again, get everything approved because it's a very secure location. You're dealing with extreme height over the canyon and a lot of weight. So they're going to have to, of course, be very careful and take their time. How it will work out, I don't know. The traffic situation should not be bad because you have that overpass highway. I'm not going to keep you any longer. I was asked about this problem at Meade, and this is what I could find out, guys. Working on some other videos, but right now, it's a heads up. Be safe. Remember, our Father loves you, and we love you.